Hello everybody, it is Thursday the 3rd of July and whoa, so many doors have opened to thoughts for me, so many pieces, and I'm trying to put them together, and I want to talk about a few things in this video. First of all, firstly and lastly, I want to talk about the lamb and the lion lying together, and that is the peace of God. I was made aware of a woman making videos, and she was talking about that, about the lion and the lamb lying beside each other in peace. And that is the peace of God, and you are a God, and you need to be at peace with that. And only if you are in peace with yourself can you be at peace with creation. You are at war with yourself, you judge yourself wrongly, and out of that you judge this creation wrongly. I want to show you this. But first of all, I want to talk about again what I talked in the video before, and that is the holographic nature of this reality. Yeah, it is holographic in nature. It is not an artificially created hologram. That's a different thing. We create things outside of ourselves that are a reflection of our truth. And we should see ourselves in what it is we have created. Now, we have created machines that can create artificial holograms. And now people go around proclaiming that to be the truth. That is the reflection of the truth. The artificial machine is the reflection of the truth. Yeah? They are worshipping the image that we have produced and proclaiming it to be the truth. And it is not. It is only a reflection of our truth. But what we can see in what we have created is that a hologram is produced, a three-dimensional image is produced through an array of lights, of different lights, that then produce the 3D image. An array of energies. And that is what we are. We are an array of different energies that come together and produce a knowledge, what we know, and it produces the 3D image. We are in a three-dimensional world because we are multidimensional beings. We have enough energies to create this image, to know ourselves in that way, in a three-dimensional way, which is a very high level of awareness. We are on an extremely high level. We have forgotten who we are, and we're losing ourselves. We're losing the knowledge. We're losing ourselves. And we're being driven in the wrong direction, into wrong judgment of what it is we are. You see the truth, and you see the lie. I say we have forgotten who we are because this knowledge was in this world. It was held by only the few, which was a mistake. That was a mistake, because the few were destroyed by ignorance. And with their destruction, the knowledge went out of this world. And we are now fading away through lack of knowledge of ourselves. But the knowledge was here. if you look at the teachings of the Gnostics, the picture of the eons in the pleroma, which is a knowledge, again, it is a knowledge of ourselves, depicted outside of ourselves. So the observer becomes the observed. You can see yourself in that. And the idea of the eons, different energies, different aspects of us that between them produce realities. They come together to create realities. The multiple aspects of ourselves. That's what the eons are. They're not something outside of ourselves. They're something inside of us. Now, it would appear that there are beings outside of this reality that cannot enter in. They cannot produce a 3D image. They do not have, or they are not aware of enough aspects of themselves to produce this 3D image. They are not as advanced. They're not above us, they're below us. Now, how are we in this state and how are they in that state? Now, it was the thinking of the Gnostics that the eons come into being bit by bit, pair by pair, one after the other. So that out of one awareness, the next awareness will come. So that is an ascension. That is an ascension that is adding to awareness by becoming aware of more aspects that can bring knowledge. And then incorporate it all into an array that will create the full picture. So maybe those that are outside of this world have not evolved enough to be in a three-dimensional world. They don't have enough knowledge to produce that picture. Or, and I can see this happening in this world right now, at least it has been tried, and that is to get us away from the knowledge to, again, get out of this reality. And it will take you out of this reality, make no mistake, not because it's so much greater out there, but because you are losing the ability to sustain the knowledge here. It's the denial of self, the judgment of self, the judgment of good and bad. Good and bad does exist, but not in this. Everything inside you is creator. Nothing exists that is not him. He is all. Nothing exists outside of him because there is no outside of him. And with every aspect of ourselves that we add to ourselves, we see more of him. But there is a judgment being made now that there are parts of us that are bad and that we need to do away with. So we're becoming less. And in the end, that will take us out of this reality because we will not be able to see it. We won't have the lights to see what it is we're in. The judgment or the false truth, the falsehood of one being the only truth. There is only one truth and everything else is false. It's not false, it is creator. Everything is a truth. You're in an array of truth. There's more than one to create a 3D picture. But this idea there is only one, and people go there now. They are in denial of self. They are at war with themselves. They're doing away with aspects of themselves. They are reducing themselves. And to say, you reduce yourself, you will know more. No, sorry, you won't. You will see less. So those that say, love is the only truth. Again, the Gnostics knew better than that. Love is an aeon in the pleroma, but it is only one of many. It is only one aspect through which to see reality. So love is the only truth. We're all becoming just love. We're becoming compassion, we're becoming forgiveness, we're becoming just the higher vibrations, and then we will see the truth. Folks, we know the truth. We have experienced the truth in this world. Many of us have. Experienced the folly of being just in love. Trust your own experience. It is showing you truth. I would say it has happened to many, and most certainly has happened to me before, in my youth mostly. When you fall in love and you see another person only through the eyes of love. Only through the eyes of love. And out of that you open yourself up and you give yourself to that person. You fully connect, you fully open. And it is only when the pain starts, because you did not see the full truth. Love can only see good. And that is not the fullness of the truth. When the pain starts, the rest of reality will kick in. And again, you will become aware of other aspects of that person that were real to start with, and that you could not see because you only looked through the eyes of love. And you were blind. Love is blind. That is what we say. It will see no evil. That does not mean you're going into the fullness of the truth. You've gone away from it. You're no longer seeing the fullness of the truth. Through all your other aspects, you will see the fullness of the truth, the whole 3D picture of the truth. But as I said, we go into one aspect, we become blind until the pain kicks in. And pain is a great way of bringing you back to reality, to seeing reality, all of it. There is your experience. There is the truth. Love is not all. It is only one aspect. As I said, the Gnostics knew that. That knowledge was in this world. We are experiencing the truth of it. How have we forgotten? How have we become so deluded? How are we denying ourselves and accepting that as truth? And really then in denial of reality. That's the only way it can work. Reality is not real. How are we accepting that as truth? So again, this is a way, that is definitely a way of getting out of this reality, because you will no longer be fit for this reality. You will not be a multi-dimensional being anymore that can live in this reality. So it's definitely a way of going up, getting out, not to something greater, not to something more. You are becoming less. This is the greater state of awareness. As I said, they're calling good evil, evil good. The whole thing has flipped on its head. The whole understanding of ourselves and what is greatness and what is less, it is all flipped on its head. So, as I said, this is where we are, that is who we are. Multidimensional beings that can create a three-dimensional reality, a three-dimensional knowledge of reality through the multiple lights of our aspects. And those that are outside of this world are less. That is where we are. Now, as I said, there are multiple aspects of us. And here comes really the lion and the lamb that need to be at peace. You need to be at peace with what you are. Stop judging yourself. You can judge out of the knowledge of ourselves. We create out of the capabilities that we have, being multidimensional beings. We create outside of ourselves, we create outcomes. That is where good and bad comes into being, not in what we are. What we are is creator, and it is good. It was meant for good. But in what we create, there good and bad comes into being. We know ourselves by our fruit. And if we are totally destructive, we are using our capabilities wrongly. That is where judgment should be. That is where good and evil exists. Not in what was created in the first place. That is just knowledge of Creator. There's neither good nor bad in that. So those aspects of ourselves, and I said the lion and the lamb are inside of us. And it is inside of us that they need to be at peace. We are. And that is the reality of us. We are the full spectrum. We are the lion and we are the lamb. And we're everything in between. We are severity. We can be the raging lion. We are also loving kindness and forgiveness. They're two, I would say they are two polarities, the outer edges of the same thing that vary from each other in degrees. But we are all of them. That is the whole range of what it is we are. And that range should serve us if we use it wisely. Now we live, as I said, we live in a creation where there are beings of lesser awareness, and for the most part that actually can make them extremely dangerous. Not because they're evil, but because they're ignorance, which is not their fault. They are what they are, and they still need to get somewhere else. Yeah, but we need to accept that they exist. Not everything is on the same level of consciousness. And those that are in ignorance are dangerous. Ignorance is a dangerous thing. And we might come into situations where we have to defend ourselves. And that is just how it is. And then the raging lion is what we need, because the lamb is no defense against ignorance. It's not. Ignorance will not know it. So severity and force might be needed to defend yourself, and you have got a right to defend yourself. You have a right to be. You should not seek conflict in order to have dominion over everything. Again, that is using an energy the wrong way, and it creates destruction. But when it is needed, the lion needs to be there. And then the lamb has to step out of the way. Once balance and peace is restored, the lion has to step out of the way. And the lamb has to come back in to live in that peace. There's no need of being in conflict when there's no need for conflict. And again, that is the truth of ourselves. So, and we know that there are aspects of ourselves that serve different functions, a different purpose in different situations. Then we can accept every aspect of ourselves as good. We do not have to judge ourselves wrongly. They are all good. They serve a purpose, which is there to sustain life, to sustain consciousness, to keep us in creation. And then the lion and the lamb can lay next to each other in peace, because they know that they are part of the same body. They are servants to the same body, and they should not be at war with each other. That is what is destroying us. When we are being driven into wrong judgment, and we're setting our own aspects at war with each other. We are doing that. They should not be at war with each other. They should all lie next to each other in peace, and whatever is needed will be elevated to do what is needed to be done. And that is the peace of God, and that is the acceptance of God. That is the acceptance of self. Accept yourself as a multidimensional being, and know that it is good, and use it in a way that is good. And know that you're only in this solid three-dimensional world because you are an advanced three-dimensional being that can produce this image, this kind of knowledge. Those that are not in this world are less. They cannot do it. They don't have enough aspects to themselves. And they will drag you, they will try to drag you out of this advanced state to their lesser state, proclaiming that they are the light, or the only truth. My light is the only truth. You only have got one light. You're practically blind. Now, if we can live at peace with ourselves, being at peace with what we are, and out of that acceptance of the multiple aspects of ourselves, and accepting all of them as good, then we can look out into this world and see the multiple aspects of this world, all the different consciousnesses, that form the world, that are different aspects of this world that are connected to each other. Every aspect fulfills a function. As within, so without. And then you will not judge the aspects of this world on any level. The mineral, the vegetative, the animal. You will not judge them. But you will see that they are functioning parts. Every part fulfills a purpose. As within, so in the greater world, every aspect fulfills a function. They're different from each other. They do different things from each other. But everything fulfills a function to sustain the whole. It's only when you have that peace with that peace and understanding, the peace and the understanding of a God within yourself, is that you can judge the world outside of yourself correctly. If you judge aspects of yourself inside of yourself, you will judge them outside of yourself. You will become the destroyer of aspects inside of yourself, outside of yourself, and you will become the destroyer of worlds. Because you're going more and more into ignorance. And ignorance is a dangerous beast. That is what the beast is. It's ignorance. See the level that we're actually on. And let's use ourselves correctly. And again, we are now on a more self-aware state. We are in a state where we can do more than the animal and anything else here. What do we do with that? We are supposed to be a functional. This should not elevate us. It has been said that whoever has got the greatest knowledge should be the greatest servant to all. Yeah? And what you have done to the least of them, you have done to me. What you've done to the least of them in this world, you have done to this world. And the least of them is not only a part of the world, but a part of the Creator. What you've done to the least of them, you have done to the Creator, because they are the Creator. On some level, they are the Creator. So how can we exist in this world and be beneficial to this world, rather than seeing ourselves as elevated and becoming the destroyers of it? And as it becoming the destroyer is mostly done through us doing away with parts of ourselves and becoming ignorance. And that way we can become the destructive beast. But we're being told we're going into the light. We're being told you are all love, you become a greater consciousness. No, you're not. You're becoming a lesser consciousness. And whatever it is you're doing away with, you will become a destructive, ignorant beast. And sooner and later it will fling you out of this reality, because you will no longer be fit to be here. You are no longer the level required to be here. You've done away with that level. You've destroyed it in yourself out of wrong judgment. Anyway, you folks, so that's where I'm at now. And let's see where we can go from there. Anyway, I leave it at that for today. And I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.